Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's old Pappy back with another one. Thanks for tuning in. And today we're going to be doing a sequel to a popular video I did the other day, which was called Too Many Scorpions. Now, the question this time around is, can you run too many hawks in your hangar? Now, I know that that question, the answer to that question a little while ago, a few months ago anyway, would have been absolutely no. You can run 5 if you wanted to. And why? Because at one point, the built-in weapon for the Hawk was so insanely powerful, it would melt both Titans and regular robots in seconds. And of course, people complained and they said, nerf it, and lo and behold, eventually Hawk was nerfed. And so the damage that was done, that is done against regular robots was reduced by an insane amount. I got to say, it's at least 40%, something like that. It was just crazy. So now, although you do damage other robots, you do not melt them in seconds. So it makes running a whole bunch of Hawks a very, very different and sometimes challenging situation. And so in this hangar, I have, I think, 3 Hawks, and I'm going to try a bunch of different setups. Right now, I have Exodus and Pinatas for 300-meter explosive weapon damage. The setup, of course, for the Hawk is 2 heavies and 2 lights. And then I'm also going to throw on some nucleons and quarkers, and might even get to some cryo weapon setups as well. But right off the bat, I'm going to show you one of the weaknesses of Hawk. So they also clipped its wings, and so it doesn't fly as long. And even though I'm going to get a kill here, you watch this, I'm going to kill this guy with my Exodus. There you go. Look at my health. My health is just absolutely knocked down to next to nothing, and I am getting chased by this Phantom. Now, let me talk a little about that just for a second, because I'm going to get into some of the pros and cons if you do want to run multiple Hawks. So one of the big pros of the Hawk, of course, is the flight, right? The flight ability. I personally love flight. I will always lean towards robots that can jump or fly. I just think the extra mobility is crucial, especially in the way that I grew up playing the game. By that meaning grew up in the game, obviously, because I've been playing since day one, basically, of the game, and some of my earliest favorite robots were Rogatka, which was basically a jumping robot, and also, I used to love Griffin. Griffin was a jumping bot. Anything that could jump, I loved it. All right, and so when they brought a flying robot in like Hawk, I just love it. It gives me that extra sense of dynamic gameplay. I just think it's more fun. But one of the challenges with this build is its inability to really, really withstand a lot of punishment while, say, holding a beacon. So while it can cap beacons like crazy, get up in the air and do what I'm doing here, use terrain to your advantage, get up on a high area where no one, a lot of these little bots can't get you, that's great. But you saw previously when I died is that I snuck over to the left-hand side and I capped that beacon, and immediately a Phantom came after me, and that is where, again, one of these major weaknesses of the bot comes in. Because there are so many other bots out there with insane damage resistance, built-in damage resistance, or heavy shielding that gives them effectively damage resistance. I'm thinking Tyr, I'm thinking Shell, I'm thinking Phantom, even Scorpion to a lesser degree, because it does have some damage resistance when it actually uses its ability. Fenrir is another example of a bot that is basically just a walking tank. And so watch what happens here. Again, I'm trying to cap the beacon. I did all my flying and my juking and jiving, and of course I'm getting attacked on all sides here. But look at this, my health just boom, and I'm dead. I can't hold the beacon. So let's jump into a different match here, and we're going to take a look again. Now I'm going to come back out with this nucleons and my quarkers here, and one of the reasons why I'm doing that is because I find that the nucleons and the quarkers are one of the best setups for this bot. And part of the reason why is I honestly don't think this is a very good brawling bot. And by brawling, I mean fighting within 350 meters or so. And so, while I have the Exodus and I have the cryo weapon set up, which are both 300-meter range, they really act like death buttons. You can kill somebody really quickly as long as they don't heal and damage resist and their chips don't kick in and their drones don't, you know what I mean? You're kind of getting the drift, right? Like, I'm going to take a step back for a second because obviously the game has changed a lot. And so it actually forces you to kind of change your tactics, because one of the things about back in 2014, 15, and even up to 16 that I was really, that really was a characteristic of the game was the concept of a death button. And that was when you could literally catch someone by surprise and kill them in 2 seconds. That was long before healing modules. That was long before healing chips. That was long before regenerating chips, where suddenly your health just bounces back, or damage resistance. And so you could catch a guy like this Shell in the old-fashioned days. If Shell existed, I literally could just catch him with a cryos, or with with Exodus, or whatever it's going to be, my Orcans, and you literally could kill him in 2 seconds. And so now the challenge is, when you're running a bunch of Hawks in your hangar, is that you can take these close-range explosive weapons and you can just knock someone's health down to nothing, and then their health comes back, and you're standing there now staring down the barrel, like I am here, of this guy. Look at this, his last stand is kicked in. I'm trying now. He's got an Aegis shield. No, I mean he's got a whatever the hell kind of shield that is, the purple one. And so I beat him, but look at my health. Look at my health. It went right down almost to zero. My last stand kicked in. Now I'm being forced to use a bunch of modules to basically heal up, just so I can keep fighting. And so that's sort of the catch I'm finding with having all of these Hawks in my hangar, is that sure, I can fly around. Sure, I can, I can get the high ground. I can do all these kind of things. I can even cap beacons. But what do I do when I have the beacon? How do I stop other heavily defensive bots, shielded, chips to the max? How do I stop them from coming and taking the beacon back? Now, obviously, that's a major problem in Beacon Rush and in Domination, and it's less, obviously, in Team Deathmatch. I mean, those are whole different balls of wax here. But I still would argue that you probably would be better off in this game if you didn't run, I hate to say it, because I really enjoy the Hawk. But I kind of wonder whether 2 is about as many as you'd want to run these days. And the question, of course, what happens when this new robot Fafnir comes into the game, right? I mean, Fafnir is going to be a flying robot. It's going to have 2 medium and 2 light weapons. It's going to have damage resistance on the ground. It's going to have a built-in weapon in the air. It's going to have a shield for the first few seconds after it flies. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe after Fafnir appears, maybe all my Hawks will be trash and I'll have to throw them out. But, I think at the end of the day, what I probably will end up doing is I'm probably going to take 2 of my Hawks, and I'll put long-range setups on them, and I'll put them in a sort of a long-range hangar, and I'll probably take my other Hawk, and I'll probably keep the cryo weapons on it, and I will keep it in a short-range hangar for short-range maps. And why? Well, because the other thing we don't talk about so far anyway, we haven't talked about, is the Hawk's effectiveness against Titans, because it really is important at the end of game, like when you see Titans are coming out on the screen right now, right? It is really important to have at least a Hawk to help take those Titans down, because there's nothing worse than when you're winning a game and all of a sudden your Titan dies early and you're stuck running around with a Scorpion trying to take down a bunch of Arthurs, right? I mean, it's just ridiculous in the last 2 minutes of a game. So anyway, if you want to keep watching, feel free. You can see how I do, with the Hawk I have now and whatever Hawks I have left. This game's getting close to being almost over. Obviously, you can see we're winning the beacon fight anyway. I'd love to hear from you. How many Hawks is too much? Can you run too many? Is there anybody out there who's running multiple Hawks? And if so, why? And if you had a choice between multiple Hawks or multiple Scorpions, and you could only pick one hangar, which one would you pick and why? Anyway, that's it for now. Until next time, if you like what you see, hit the share, the like, the subscribe, and I will see you on the battlefield.